I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co., and these are 10 questions you should ask yourself before buying that new board game. Board games are fun. It's why I do what I do. It's why I play the amount of games I play. I think board games are a lot of fun, and buying new board games is fun too. Finding new games that might be the best thing you've ever played, all of that is fun. But sometimes reality checks are needed. You do you, obviously. If you just want to go out and buy games, but you probably don't need to watch the rest of this video then. If you do want some degree of what I would say are healthy reality checks to decide if you should go ahead and buy that game, because sometimes the answer is absolutely yes. But I can say for at least myself, just as often the answer is no. And depending on who you are, sometimes you'll have more yeses than nos. But again, you do you. But if you want some reality checks, here are 10 of my favorites. And number 10 in particular, I shouldn't do that. That sounds so clickbaity. Oh my gosh, I'm like, wait till the very last one. That's the one that you need to know. There's timestamps. You can jump to the last one. You don't have to watch the rest. If the last one's the best, just watch the last one. But with that said, let's start off with number 1. Do I own something similar? Meaning I'm kind of already assuming that you are interested in this for some reason, whatever that reason might be. So I'm not going to get into that. Well, one of my questions will a little bit. But let's start with number 1. Do I own something similar? Do you own something similar more in this particular case? Meaning you're looking at this cool game. It looks fun. It looks great. Do you already own something that is doing what that game is doing? And if so, why do you want this new game? What is it about this new thing that you're getting that you hope will solve the problem that the other one isn't? Do you like the other one? Do you just want more of them? To a certain extent, having things that are similar are good, but at least, like, for example, I'll tell you, trick-taking games, oh my gosh, there are too many trick-taking games right now. They're all fun. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them are fun. But I can't play 7,000 trick-taking games, so I'm only going to play the best 4 or 5, and everything else is just a pursuit of trying to find the best 4 or 5. There's so many trick-taking games. I just don't need that many games doing functionally the same exact thing. In your case, this might be area control, it might be midway Euros, it might be cooperative experiences, it could be dexterity, it could be anything. But do you have something that is doing something similar to this game, or do you have enough of them that you don't need this particular game? Number 2, practically speaking, is this a game that will hit the table? That could be an issue of player count. Maybe it's a solo game and you don't actually play solo despite the fact that you keep telling yourself you will but you don't do it. Maybe it's an 8-player game and the last time you had 8 players was 4 years ago and you played someone else's copy of a game because you didn't even bother pulling out your own 8-player games because you just couldn't be bothered to remember the rules because you don't play 8-player games. Maybe it's an issue of the length of the game. 4-hour games don't always get played depending on who you are. 8-hour games even less so. Maybe it's the complexity of the setup. Whatever that is this game functionally a game that, practically speaking, is going to hit the table? It might be pretty, it might be shiny, it might be the best game ever at what that game is trying to do, but if it's not going to hit the table, it's basically an expensive paperweight. Number 3, if this is an expensive game, and this one only applies to an expensive game, it doesn't apply to your typical average retail cost game, but if you are paying more, and it could be more at retail, some retail games are $120, some are $50. But it could be a retail game, it could be a crowdfunding game, whatever it is. If this is an expensive game, what makes you think this is worth more than cheaper games? There are some incredible $30 games out there. There's some incredible $40 or $50 games out there. And I'm not saying you shouldn't pay $150 for that game or $250 for that all in. I'm not saying you shouldn't. But have you mentally mathed it out to a certain extent? If you're paying $200 for a game and you could get 5 $40 games, is this game worth that replacement cost? If you have infinite money, this one's not really a conversation. Or if you have enough money, you just don't have to think about these things. This might not be a conversation. But if you are operating with any degree of limited funds, then the $200 game has to be 4 times as good as the $40, 5 times as good as the $40 game in order for you to justify that purchase if you are operating with any sense of limited money. If you do have to make decisions as, I can't get that game right now because I've already spent too much on my gaming budget this month, if you ever have to think that, then these questions matter. A more expensive game should be worth being more expensive. Have you determined not just that you want it, not just the fact that it's doing something cool and different the other games don't, but have you determined that it's worth the extra cost? Number 4. Are you excited about the gameplay? Or is it just the art, the components, that cool trailer you saw? What is it about the game that's pulling you in? Because for most people, it's going to be gameplay above all. And make no mistake, I'm a shallow person. I like a pretty game. And a game that is good, that is pretty, might outstay a game that is slightly better, but looks terrible. But the game still has to be good, at least for me. I don't know about you, maybe not for you, but the game for me has to be a good game. After that, the prettiness, the components, the miniatures, the cool art, all those things make a difference. Those double-layer player boards are great, but the gameplay is at the core of it all. The gameplay is everything. What pulled you in about this game? If it was purely the art and components, the miniatures, the who knows what, Have you really done your due diligence to ensure that it's even the type of game that you think you'll like? I'm not asking you to guarantee anything. Sometimes you can't do that. A game that's great for everyone might not be a game that's great for you. But have you at least looked at the mechanics? Have you at least established whether this is a game that is the kind of game you'll play, or is it just the shiny bling that's pulling you in? Number 5. How often, how many times do you need to play this game in order for it to have been worth getting? And this applies to the $40 game as much as it applies to the $10 game, as much as it applies to the $250 all in. But whatever that game you're buying, how often do you need to play it, or how many times? You could pick a degree of frequency per year. You could just say how many plays you need to get before it was worth it. A $40 game, if you play it once, was that worth it to you? In some cases, the answer is yes. Many people spend far more than $40 on a single night of whatever fun that is. You can go to a play and spend $200 a person or more sometimes. So the answer could be yes, but just think through that answer. If you buy this game and you only play it once, was it worth it? And also, part of that question is how frequently do you play the games that you buy? That's another part of it. Some people are like, I don't even understand the question. I always play every game like 7 times minimum. And other people are like, I play about a quarter of the games I buy, so one's actually above average. You have to know yourself, and I'm not saying what you have to hit. I'm just saying you have to be comfortable with the reality of your situation being applied moving forward. If you generally play most of your games once, you have to be okay with that before you shell out $40 for the next game, or let alone $200 for the next game. So how many times do you need to play it for this to have been worth the cost? You need to think that through before you do it. It's not a guarantee what you will do, but then pair it up with what you typically have done. 6 is similar and yet different. If I don't like it after 1 play, 2 plays, 3 plays, am I still happy buying that, knowing it's a possibility? Meaning question 5 is more about just the way you approach games. You could love the game and still only play it once, and then maybe get a second play in 4 years down the road. That just depends on who you are and how you play games, and what kind of new games you get, and how frequently you play. All those things are factors. But that's even assuming you like it. But if you don't like the game, if you play it once, or if you play it twice and decide it's time to get rid of it, are you still happy buying that, knowing that's a possibility? And again, also look towards your past purchases. Also look towards how frequently that happens. But if on average, if 75% of the games you play, you're like, it's a one and done, and you're ready to move on from it. It wasn't even that good. It didn't spark that joy you were hoping it would spark. It looked cool. It sounded cool, but most of the time, you'd just rather play a game you already have. If that's happening a lot of the time, if you don't like the game after 1, 2, 3 plays, are you comfortable having bought the game, knowing that's a possibility? You can never predict the future, but you can make decisions based on the potential possible futures, and that's all I'm asking you to do with number 6. Number 7, again, factors in together with this. How do you get rid of games? And however that is, are you comfortable going through that with this game if you don't enjoy it? This is less about the number of plays, it's less about any of that. It's more about, do you sell games, trade games, let them sit in a pile of your basement just collecting dust because you can't get rid of them? Do you gift them away? Whatever your process is, again, I'm not judging, I'm not asking you to do anything. I'm just saying, whatever your process is, are you comfortable with this potential new purchase being added to that process? It might be a game that you have to sell. It might be a game you give away. It might be a game that sits in the corner of your basement collecting dust. Whatever you typically have done with your games, before you buy every new game, think about how frequently your new games enter that queue. And your queue could also just be sitting on the shelf with no hope of anything ever changing, which is just marginally different than sitting in the corner of your basement collecting dust. It is a little different, but marginally so. Are you comfortable with this new potential purchase entering whatever that queue is? Number 8. Can you get the game down the road? And if so, are you comfortable waiting to see if you're still excited about it in a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year, whatever it is? And this applies to retail as much as it does crowdfunding, because sometimes it's about crowdfunding, about whether you can or can't get the same thing. Are you comfortable waiting? But sometimes it's just about a game that shows up at retail, and you have to question to yourself, okay, great, I'm interested in this game, I want this game, it looks cool. What if you waited a month? What if you just don't buy it for a month? Put it down on a list, just so you remember. Have a wish list somewhere. It's good to have a wish list, because often the absence of a wish list sometimes means that something becomes an essential purchase, versus the presence of a wish list means sometimes the action is simply putting it onto your wish list. That's all the action needs to be. You want the game? Do you have a bunch of unplayed games? Well, put that onto your wish list, and then buy that when you need more unplayed games. When you're running out of your new games pile, then you look at your wish list and buy a bunch of things. So, can you wait and put this down on your wish list? See if you're excited about it a week from now, a month from now, a year from now. And if you are, sure, go ahead and get it. I'm not saying don't get it, but just defer the decision. Because otherwise, the question is, why do you need it right now? What is it about this game that you need this second, this moment? And again, sometimes crowdfunding is a little more complicated because you are being given a point in time. So I recognize it's not always the case. But can you wait and buy this game down the road and see if you're still excited about it down the road? Number 9, can you try it with your friend's copy? Or at a convention, or at a board game cafe? This is a game you're interested in, right? So go ahead and play it. On Board Game Arena, Tabletop Simulator, your friend's copy, convention, whatever it is, can you in any way play this game in another capacity before going out and buying it? And if that prospect doesn't excite you, if the thing that excites you is buying the game, and not trying to see if you even like it before you buy it, then you do have to ask yourself, what is exciting here? Is it something about the acquisition process? Are you going to eventually get that game and then just not play it at the same time? Because don't get me wrong, I like owning things. I'm not saying that if you like a game that if you love a game, I'm not saying, well, your friend has a copy, just always play theirs. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying purely as the opportunity to try it first. Because if I love a game, I want to own it, even if we'll always play my friend's copy at my friend's house. I do want to own the things that I love. But if you don't even know if you love it yet, does the prospect of playing it excite you as much as the prospect of buying it? And if a thing that excites you is buying it and you just want to do that, again, assuming you can do so healthily in a way that's not bad for you, yourself, your loved ones, all that, you do you. But also this video probably shouldn't have watched the whole video at that point either. But ask yourself if you can try this game in another capacity, and if you're not excited about that, do you really need to buy the game in the first place? And then number 10, slight variation on the first one. Do I own something similar? But it's an important variation, and it's one of the bigger things that I like to look at. I like to remind myself of. Although, again, to a certain extent, I operate in a different realm because I often review games as part of my job, so I'm not always doing things based off of my own personal excitement of buying them. But the question to ask yourself is, how many games do you have that you love that you're not playing enough? How many unplayed games do you have that you were excited about or are excited about and want to play? And what is it about this new thing that you're intrigued enough that it overrides the games you love that you're not playing enough and the unplayed games that you're excited about playing? Speaking for myself, there are a lot of games that I love that I get regular plays of. There's also games that I love that I haven't played in 2 years, and I love those games. When I look at a new game and I decide to get that, to a certain extent, I am choosing that potential new experience over a game that I know I love and I haven't tabled in far too long. And that is just as true about unplayed games I have. When I look at my unplayed games pile, there are some games that I just, I'm not as excited about as when I got them. But there's many more that I'm incredibly excited about. There's always games that I want to table, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. I've read rulebooks, I've prepped, I'm researched, I want to play these games. And when I buy something new, I am choosing to add that to the queue that is going to compete with my unplayed games that I want to get to, and my games that I know I love that I want to get to. You are choosing something that is adding to the choices you have to make. You're not just adding something new, you're competing. We all have limited time. We can only play so many games. If you're watching this video, you almost certainly wish you could play games more than you actually do. And so if you're working with limited time, that means adding something new is inherently fighting for that time period over other things you already have. Does that deserve that? Is that good enough? Because sometimes, by the way, sometimes the answer is yes. This entire questionnaire, these 10 questions, none of this is about getting a no. This is about establishing whether you should or shouldn't get it. Because there are many games that the answer is yes, I'm excited. Yes, I want this game. Yes, it's competing with things I love and I still want this game. And in many other cases, the answer is no, I want it, but not more than other stuff I already have. These are 10 questions to ask yourself. I highly recommend going through these. You don't have to have a literal checklist on you at all times, but the concept of this, the concept of evaluating your board game purchases is not based in a vacuum. It doesn't stand on its own. There are other factors at play here, from your anticipation of what it is you want about this. Do you have similar games? Do you actually need this, or do you just want to put it on a wish list? Will it replace other games? All of these are useful things to ask yourself in an effort to save money and also to prioritize your time and play the best games you have. In any case, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. Hope you found this video helpful, and as always, I hope you have a good one.